Welcome back to the channel, guys. Got a new build on the bench today. It's a 6S budget build. It's Freestyle. It's a frame from Ready-Made RC. There's Strix Screech line. It's the Freestyle frame. It's a 5-inch frame. I had pretty much started out with some motors. These are the Emax RSII 2306 1600 kV, so they're a 6S motor. This is my first intro to 6S. Been running 4S for a little bit over a year, and I wanted to see what 6S is about. Picked up these motors at a really great price. Emax had a clearance sale. It was motors were already marked down to $8 a motor, and it was an additional 50% off. So I got these for $4 a motor. And that's kind of where the build started. And then I needed a frame to put them on. So previously I built a Source 1, TBS Source 1. It's a great, probably like the gold standard for reliable, durable, and budget-friendly frames by TBS. But I wanted something different this time. And so that comes into the frame aspect. So I believe these frames normally go for about $29, which I mean is still a pretty good price. Ready-Made RC had these for $25. And then I got a PayPal coupon from Ready-Made RC for an additional $5 off. So this frame was only, I believe it was $20.99 or right around $21 for the frame. So great price, couldn't pass it up. With the camera, I went for my favorite analog cam. It's the Caddx Ratel. This is the 2.1 version. Great camera if you haven't checked one out. It's probably one of the best analog cams out there. This one I picked up on FPV Marketplace. I believe it was around $20. I picked up this, and at the time it was an XM Plus, so I'd say around $20 for the camera. It was brand new, so great price on the camera. Now, what electronics is the stack built around? Well, also a great budget stack. I don't know if you can see it in there. It's kind of a tight spot in there. It's the Diatone Mamba F405 Mark II and the 35 amp ESC. So for the price, I mean, it's hard to go wrong for this ESC and flight controller combo. It is an F4, but I mean, that's not a problem. I picked this up from Pyrodrone. I believe it was the normal price, $43. So it's one of the more expensive parts of the build. For the VTX, it's the Eachine TXC VTX. It's an 800 milliwatt VTX. Probably not familiar with that. Gal Kramer posted a video of that with a review. I'll post the link in the description. I think he was getting about 535 milliwatt or something of that nature, but regardless, I was getting a very clear feed. And previously I've run, I believe it's a TX805 Eachine VTX, and I've also run an Eachine Nano. I have an Eachine Nano V2 with mic coming in. It's going to be for a future build. I'll take a look at that one. I think maybe only one person's reviewed it that I've seen. This one does not have a mic, but it has a spot where you can wire a mic up. So if you pick up the Rush mic, I believe, Rush FPV is going to be a good mic if you want to hear the sounds there of your motors and stuff. For the antenna, that was $13 on Banggood, I believe on a flash sale. For the antenna, it's a right-hand circular polarized Emax Nano. This was on sale for $4. And With the receiver, of course, I went Crossfire. Got the Immortal T mounted on the arm. I think a lot of people mount them on the arm. Maybe I need to whip up a TPU print for a little bit cleaner mount, but I haven't done so yet. I've got a TPU mount for the XT60. Had to whip that one up. The only thing about the Mamba stack is, I mean, you can use your own wire or pigtail, but the wire that they give you is pretty short, which, I mean, it's not going to get caught up in the props. I assume you could spend 5.1 inch props on this. I haven't tried. But anyway, I want to keep it out of the props, so this TPU mount does a great job of that. For the props, I went with the Dal Cyclone 5040Cs. These, I believe, have been around for a while. They're pretty much indestructible. They got a lower pitch, so you're going to get good flight times. I probably swap some Ethics S5s on it, or maybe some Gem Fan Hurricane 51 499s. Make it nice smooth. That's a 5.1 inch prop. It's pretty smooth. What else? Oh, so the motor screws these motors ship with, I can't see it in there, it's out of frame, are the, I believe they're, I want to say 7mm, but this has got 5mm arms, I believe, so they're pretty thick. So, I mean, they didn't even come all the way through. I mean, you always want to be cautious that they don't get into the windings, but, I mean, this is optimal right here. So I picked up a set of these. I'm not going to include these in the bill price because, yeah, I mean, they're probably like, I think it was $1.50 or something like that from Race Day Quads. These are 10mm. And then I added a TPU print, some skids. So got those on all four corners. So no more scratching up the screws on those rough landings. All right, so for batteries, I went with a couple different ones. These are also budget friendly. These are the China Hobby Line 1000 milliamp hour 6S, and the ever popular white label China Hobby Line 1300 6S. They definitely make great batteries. I got these on a flash sale. They're always having sales on China Hobby Line. I believe I got 6. I think it was about 6 a piece here. They're about almost identical price. And this one's obviously a lot heavier because the graphene pack's the older style pack. This one's much lighter, but I mean, you'll have more room for like a GoPro or a Runcam 5, something like that. This one you're gonna have less room, but it's gonna give you a longer flight time. I mean, with these motors, you don't have a problem. You don't really feel it. I believe they're around $15 a battery. So I mean, that's maybe even less. That's great for a 6S pack. I mean, I think the RDQ packs, I think comparable. I think they're anywhere from, I want to say $22 to $25 a piece, which, I mean, those are GMB packs, which everybody knows that GMB packs are great. But regardless, I mean, I didn't really have a problem with these. Now, granted, I was running these really low pitch props, so, they're not nearly as hard on the Lipos. All right, let's get a weight. Dry weight's coming in at like 322 with the 1000 milliamp. You're pushing 505 grams, looks like. And with the 1300, about 560 almost. Talk about a few more things there. The build is pretty straightforward. You do have, a decent amount of room there. You can run, with the camera mount, I would say you could run a mini-size camera. This is a micro-size camera, the Ratel. I mounted as far forward as these TPU parts shipped with the build, or with the frame. Mounted as far forward. And it does give you a couple options there to mount the frame in the back. You can run 2 standoffs, or you can run a single. I was using the mini VTX with an MMCX to SMA connector pigtail. So I wanted to run 2 standoffs. And it comes with a 3D printed piece, but yeah, it sucked pretty much. It was just kind of straight out the back. The TPU was too thick, so you couldn't get this tightened down here, the pigtail. So I had to mock one up, and I wanted to put it at a 45-degree angle because, yeah, you can bend your antenna, but I mean, it's going to bend anyway. This one's not super stiff, but you want some flex there in case of a crash. But I whipped up this TPU print. I like it a 45-degree angle because you're going to get better reception. I mean, yeah, I could have gone with a longer antenna. But this isn't really like a long-range build. Although, with 800 milliwatt VTX, I mean, as you'll see in the footage, I can get pretty far out there. I also have a Speedy B antenna I thought about putting on here. It's a little bit taller, but this one's a little bit lighter, and it kind of goes with the color combo, the black and red. So why not? We're already running Emax motors. Why not run an Emax antenna? So, yeah, the build was pretty straightforward. The Crossfire Nano. I got it mounted in here in this between the sandwich plate. And I just got this mounted up here with the zip ties. I mean, you get decent range on Freestyle with that. It's not, like I said, it's not long range. The build was pretty straightforward. I did have one issue, and I'll go over that. It's more of not really an issue. It's something, it was just kind of a boo-boo on my part. So this VTX runs tramp, as a lot of the cheaper VTXs do. And I was having an issue there getting tramp to show up in the OSD. Now, I went through a few different firmwares. I started, this ships with 3.5.7, and I know it's an old firmware, but I mean, I haven't really had any issues there on it. And I did want to try 4.2 on this as well, but initially I had 3.5.7 set up, and I could not get the tramp protocol running. So I have one UART set up for Crossfire, and then I have the other UART set up for tramp. So I had it set up correctly in the config tab of Betaflight, and it was still not making changes there. Now, this one's got buttons that are easily accessible. You can change your channel and band and the power levels. It has an LED literally with the power levels written on it, so it's not complicated. But, I mean, I still want to be able to change it via the OSD. So, went over a few things, did some research. Supposedly, these F4 boards have an issue there with tramp protocol. I don't know. It wasn't. I'll let you know, it's very simple, but it definitely caused an issue. So, I tried the tramp protocol set up on both UARTs. Like I said, they mirror on both sides of the flight controller, and I could not get tramp to work. You're supposed to connect to any TX pad. So there's a TX pad here and there's a TX pad here. I tried both of them. Well, I thought that I didn't bridge the pads from this to the, I believe it's the ground. I think it's the ground pad. But in fact, I actually did bridge it. So, I mean, very slightly. These pads, I don't know, I'll post a pickup on the screen there, but these pads are pretty tight, especially if you're a noob. And like I said, I've been building for a little bit here, but they're pretty tight pads. So I accidentally bridged those and my tramp wasn't working. Took everything apart a couple times. Had to have one other minor issue. Had to replace the top plate. And then I said, what the heck? And then I went ahead and I unbridged them, and bam, it was working. Now at that time I had 4.2.2 set up. I never flew it on 4.2.2. I was going to. The flights you'll see are 3.5.7 initially, and then the tramp isn't working there in the OSD. But I had it flashed to 4.2.2, and previously, if you didn't have a BL32 ESC, which this one is not, this is BL Heli S, you could not run the firmware that was compatible with RPM filtering unless you either bought a JESC license, or I believe Jazz Mavericks is free. So the default BL Heli firmware was not compatible with RPM filtering. Well, Bard World posted a video recently as of 16.71. I think it's still a beta firmware. RPM filtering is enabled on BL Heli ESC, so you could in fact run RPM filtering. I really wanted to try that out. I'll probably try that out. I do have one more build. I updated my Twiglet. It's running RPM filtering, but I don't have the higher kilohertz firmware, like I think it's 48 kilohertz. I think it's still in 24. So my flight times are not so good, but that's neither here nor there. But on this one, I ended up flashing it back to 3.5.7 because, hey, you know, I'm not going to get into the VTX table discussion, but I couldn't get the VTX table correctly. I put the default tramp one in, but this one's got different power level settings. So it has pit mode. It has 25, 200, 600, and 800 milliwatt. So I just flashed it back to 3.5.7. All is good. I think you have to, it goes 25 milliwatt, and then you have to go up to, I think it's 400 milliwatt for 600 milliwatt. It's slightly off, but you can see the LEDs, so it's not a problem. You still update them via the OSD. But all in all, you know, I am impressed with it. I'll play around with some more aggressive props. I did come up with a camera mount for the Insta360 Go. I'll post a link there in the description. I'll upload it to Thingiverse. I know a lot of guys have them. I fly a lot of micros, so that's a great camera for micros. And, you know, this is a little bit lighter. And plus, the, you know, I don't know if you're running the 1300 mil. I haven't tried to run it on there. It wouldn't be a problem there. You have to run it this way because the plug's over there, but it shouldn't be a problem. And then also, I don't believe there's a session mount. I think I took this one. It was a Hero 7 mount, I believe, and modified it in Tinkercad. But I will update one. I have a Runcam 5, so it's the same thing, pretty much the same form factor as a session. So I'll upload one of those and I'll print one of those out because that would probably be my go-to cam for this, being a full-size quad or a mini quad rather than a micro. But, so if you've got questions like, you know, hey, how much money do I need to spend? You definitely don't have to spend hundreds of dollars. I mean, yeah, you could go get the Xylo build, the Bar World build from Get FPV. I think those start at like $249, And that's a good quad, most definitely. But I mean, some of you guys may not have that much money. You may want to spend that money on a transmitter and some goggles. You know, you maybe want to be all in for, you know, maybe just around $300. And you definitely can do that. You can check deals on FPV Marketplace, the FPV Sales Alert group. I'll post a link there in the video description. Johnny Fives group, great guy. He's got some great videos. I'll post a link to his channel as well. Check him out. But you can definitely find deals like these Emax sales. I mean, these are $20+ motors. Yeah, they may have been out for a while. But I mean, as far as I'm aware of, Emax makes quality electronics. Some people who deal with Tiny Hawk flight controllers, all-in-one boards may disagree with me. I personally haven't had any issues with them, but I think all in on this guy, I believe around $140, definitely around $150, and that's with the Crossfire Nano. So, you know, you can put whatever receiver you want. I know if you're new, you're probably going to gravitate to FlySky. I'm not saying go ahead and jump into Crossfire, but go ahead and maybe pick up a multi-protocol radio, maybe a Jumper or Radio Master. Now there's Radio King. Nick Burns did a review on that. So there's definitely some good options there. Or I mean, you can pick up like an X9D or an older version. You want to make sure you get the ACC ST version. I'd stay away from Access Protocol because FrSky is locking everybody out. But I probably wouldn't go with FlySky. If I was you, I'd probably either get, you know, FreeSky, FrSky, or which is the same thing, or you know, like a multi-protocol radio. And then when you want to add Crossfire, I mean, Crossfire Trappy's made it so accessible now. He's dropped the prices. I mean, there's really no reason why not to go Crossfire. I mean, because once you start getting fail safes, and you will, because you're going to push the range, you want that, you know, that peace of mind that, hey, look, I just built this quad. Yeah, I may only have $130 in it, but I don't want to be going behind a building or, you know, be in a high Wi-Fi interference area and drop out, right? And then, bam, you know, you may not have set up a buzzer. You may not find it. So, and that's sad. It happens. It happens to all of us. I can't say it hasn't happened to me because it has. But as a beginner, you know, hey, you need to look out for things like that. And, you know, I try to help out in the community when I can, and, you know, give some tips that, hey, things like, man, I wish I had known that. And maybe I'll do a video on that. I need to do a video on my gear as well. But anyway, I'm going to cut this short, guys. Appreciate your time. Thanks for stopping by. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe, leave your comments. I'll try to answer them as quickly as I can. We'll catch you in the next one.